PolitiFact may say that it was very consequential that Trump and Vance lied about the Haitians eating pets, but the reality is they won Springfield, Ohio. It's the first time a Republican candidate for office has won Springfield, Ohio in a very long time. So it may have been not true to highlight what was going on there, an absurdity to highlight the absurdity, which is a rhetorical tactic that some deploy, particularly Donald Trump. He won Springfield, Ohio. So to the extent it was consequential, yeah, he won a place that Republicans haven't won. Why? Because the residents are deeply frustrated with the Haitian immigrants there. And yet Politico, or PolitiFact rather, could have named the lie of the year Joe Biden lying about pardoning Hunter Biden, but no, they decided to do this one. It is an ongoing game the media plays in how they stoke outrage and cover things, which is a perfect segue into Madison, Wisconsin. A 15-year-old girl in Madison, Wisconsin opened fire at a school, killing several, including herself, and injuring others. A second grader is the one who called 911. And Joe Biden, like Barack Obama before him, decided to leave no death unwasted, and last night demanded gun control yet again. What I find very notable about this is that Joe Biden did not come out for gun control after an assassin attempted to kill Donald Trump, and Joe Biden did not come out for gun control after an assassin killed UnitedHealth CEO Brian Thompson, but kill a few kids, and by God, the Democrats will never let the death of a child go to waste. Democrats seem to love dead children, either through abortion or gun violence, because they don't like to let crises go to waste. Yes, you heard me right. Democrats love it when kids die so they can use the crisis for their agenda. Barack Obama started it after Newtown, and he rushed out after Newtown and demanded gun control, took what could have been a day of mourning for the families and turned it into an immediately divisive event, trying to divide Americans and isolate and ostracize people who oppose gun control. Instead of allowing people to meditate on the tragedy, if anything, Barack Obama, after Newtown, made it impossible for people to have rational conversations about gun control because he immediately made it divisive, which is what Joe Biden has done. Anytime a kid dies in this country, the Democrats either rush to take credit for killing the kid in abortion, or they rush to enact some policy that they say would prevent it from happening. How would you prevent this from happening? This is a tragedy. This 15-year-old girl took her parents' handgun. No one's asking for a ban on handguns. No Democrat has come out and said handguns should be banned. So she takes a handgun that belongs to her father and kills people at the local high school. Democrats, please tell me what law would stop this. A 15-year-old isn't allowed a gun in this country anyway. So you took something for which no law could prevent it, except the one thing you're not willing to recommend because you know it would be an electoral killer for you, and use it and the memory of the dead kids to advance an agenda and divide people. It is a disgusting level of bottom feeding the Democrats enjoy. They either want to kill kids in abortion or they want to use dead kids to advance an agenda, and they don't have the guts to come out and tell you what they really want, which is a ban on handguns. They don't have the guts to come out and call for it. Joe Biden's not calling for a ban on handguns. It would be unconstitutional, and not a single one of the Democratic leadership in this country is willing to put forward an amendment to the American Constitution to ban guns. None of them are willing to do it. This is Chris Murphy, who went on Morning Joe. Chris Murphy, just the other day, did a video on social media about the killing of Brian Thompson, the healthcare CEO. And he did the whole killing is wrong, but we have to talk about why people would do this in this country. Let's listen to him.
Police in Madison, Wisconsin are expected to give an update this afternoon on yesterday's deadly shooting at a private Christian school there. The shooter has been identified as a 15-year-old female student. A teacher and a student were shot and killed in a classroom during study hall. 6 other people were injured. Police say the shooter also died yesterday.
Now that's Willie, guys. Let's fast forward to Chris Murphy.
2 following the school shooting massacre in Uvalde, Texas. It was the first significant piece of federal gun safety legislation in 30 years. The Senate, of course, began to push for those reforms back in 2012 after the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting in Connecticut when he was a congressman representing that district. Senator, thanks for being with us. We noted earlier that the shooting yesterday in Madison took place 12 years after the Sandy Hook shooting. That terrible, terrible anniversary was on Saturday. Your thoughts here, the facts, the details change a bit. It's a young woman in this case. It's a handgun in this case, not an AR-style rifle. But if you look at the facts that we have right now, what more could be done here and can be done more broadly to stop these awful days?
Yeah, obviously, this is an awful time of year in Connecticut. Those families in Newtown are reliving that horror as we speak. Those empty seats at the holiday table are just devastating. And
the holiday table.
When I think about these school shootings, I think much more broadly than the number of people who are shot or killed. The reality is that our kids who are exposed to this violence, the kids who fear for their life when they walk to school in dangerous neighborhoods like the one that I live close to in Hartford, Connecticut, the kids who have gone through an active shooter incident like this one in Wisconsin, their lives are changed forever. I mean, we're losing a generation of kids because literally your brain chemistry changes when you are exposed to that level of violence.
He doesn't want to offer any solutions other than more gun control. This is a man who the other day got on television or on video on social media and said, we got to talk about all the other aspects of the killing of Brian Thompson that made it wrong but understandable. The Democrats never want to have a conversation about mental health. This is a girl, and that's very notable because with the exception of Audrey Hale at Covenant Christian School, and she was had trans issues. And by the way, notice we still don't actually have an official release of her manifesto, and yet all these other manifestos they're willing to trot out pretty quickly, including Luigi Mangione. Why his and not hers? I think we know the answer. It's very notable that it's a girl, and based on initial reports, and I'm going to dance around this a little bit because nothing's been confirmed, but it does seem to be there. She had a very troubled family life, very, very troubled, fantasized about other mass killers, wanted to commit suicide, and decided in the process she'd take other people out with her. She got her parents' handgun. Chris Murphy wants us to understand all the reasons Luigi Mangione could be led to kill, but God forbid we have a conversation about mental health. No, it can only be about gun control in this country. And what legislation has Chris Murphy proposed that could have stopped this particular killing? Exactly nothing. Nothing at all. The Democrats see dead kids and they gleefully say, hey, we can do something here. We can pass more laws and take more control. But they don't actually want to do something that would stop anything. None of them are brave enough to support an amendment to the Constitution to repeal the Second Amendment. None of them are willing to do that. They want to pass an assault weapons ban, which would not have stopped this handgun from being used. They're gleeful about it, and that's the most depraved thing. They justify Luigi Mangione. They justify even the attempted assassination of Donald Trump, and now they see this. They're like, hey, let's take advantage of this to pass our agenda. Not a single one of them cared about gun control when Brian Thompson was killed or Donald Trump was nearly killed. But here, hey, let's do gun control. It is very interesting, isn't it? People the Democrats don't like get killed. They're really quiet about gun control. The moment kids get killed, hey, let's take everybody's guns away, except we don't want to say that publicly. It's ghoulish. Yeah, Chris Murphy's absolutely right. This is the anniversary of Newtown, Connecticut. It's not holiday parties, Senators. Christmas parties around Connecticut and Hanukkah parties. You can say Christmas and Hanukkah. You're allowed. And there are children who will not be there. And now there are family members in Madison, Wisconsin who will not be around the Christmas table. And I guarantee you there are presents wrapped under trees for those people who are now dead. And I find it ghoulish and depraved that the Democrats rush every time something like this happens to immediately on the day of, while the blood is not even dried on the sidewalk, to demand that we do gun control. Can't let people mourn, immediately must start a political fight. They believe that starting the political fight immediately over this is because the Republicans never want to start the political fight. And so guess what? We never do have a political conversation about what's going on. Because if we did, we would have to have a conversation about mental health in this country instead of guns, because there's not a law that any Democrat is supporting that would have curtailed what happened in Madison, Wisconsin yesterday, or frankly, what happened in Newtown, given the facts of that situation and the shooter. They're horrible, horrible tragedies. Can the nation not mourn without Democrats immediately politicizing them? Apparently not. It's a ghoulish sickness on the Democratic Party side that everything must be politicized immediately. Even the death of the Brian Thompson, the UnitedHealthcare CEO, his family wasn't even allowed time to mourn before Democrats wanted to go out and vilify him. I should have died, but what a horrible monster in charge of an insurance company. They never even let the family have a chance to mourn. They never let the families in Newtown have a chance to mourn. They never let the families at Parkland have a chance to mourn. They never let the families at Uvalde have a chance to mourn. They never let the families in Madison, Wisconsin have a chance to mourn. And you could say, well, maybe we've got to do something about these school shootings. Show me a law that would stop them. You know, Columbine, which really kicked off the chain of modern school shootings, was done after the assault weapons ban had been passed, and they used shotguns. There is not a law being advanced by Democrats to curb mass shootings in this country that would ban shotguns or handguns, just spooky-looking guns Democrats don't like. And they don't want to actually propose anything because they know they'd be voted out of office. Because the only way to really stop this, if you're not going to deal with the mental health issues and talk some Jesus into these people, which the Democrats certainly don't want to do, is to ban all guns. And the Democrats don't want to do that. So the three things that you actually could do to fix this situation, Democrats don't want to do. They just want a political option. It's like the whole reason they never decided to solve immigration in this country, because they would rather have all the immigrants pour into this country so they can try to get amnesty than actually solve the problem at the border. Democrats never want to solve the problems. They just like to use dead kids as props to advance policy agendas that they think will help them win elections without actually then implementing those policies.